You're watching Truth Talk News.
Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars. This copy was furnished by Mr. Tom Young, a fellow warrior in the cause for freedom. Excerpts were printed word for word exactly as discovered and published in William Cooper's Behold a Pale Horse. The Illuminati's declaration of war upon the people of America. Okay, William Cooper notes, quote, I read top-secret documents which explained that silent weapons for quiet wars is the doctrine adopted by the Policy Committee of the Bilderberg Group during its first known meeting in 1954. A copy, found in 1969, was in the possession of Naval Intelligence. The following document, dated May 1979, was found on July 7, 1986, in an IBM copier that had been purchased at a surplus sale. Top Secret, Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, an introductory programming manual, operations research, technical manual, TM-SW7905.1. Welcome aboard. This publication marks the 25th anniversary of the Third World War, called the Quiet War, being conducted using subjective biological warfare fought with silent weapons. This book contains an introductory description of this war, its strategies, and its weaponry. May 1979, number 74-1120. Security. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society, i.e. the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, on a national or worldwide scale, without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life, i.e. slavery and genocide. This manual, in itself, is an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny, otherwise it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Some heavy shit. These criminals, I mean, there really is a plan. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodology for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. The solution of today's problems requires an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. You have qualified for the project because of your ability to look at human society with cold objectivity, listen to this, and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity, without a loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interest. Do not deviate from them. Okay. Wow, that's some heavy knowledge. Silent weapon technology has evolved from operations research, OR, a strategic and tactical methodology developed under the military management under Eisenhower in England during World War II. The original purpose of operation research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense with the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies. It was soon recognized by those in positions of power, the Council on Foreign Relations, that the same methods must be useful for controlling a society, but better tools were necessary. Social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society, requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information. So a high-speed, computerized data processing system was necessary, which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. Relay computers were too slow, but the electronic computer invented by 1946 by J. Presper Eckert and John W. Mauchly fitted the bill. The next breakthrough was the development of the simplex method of linear programming in 1947 by mathematician George B. Dantzig. Immediately, the Rockefeller Foundation got in on the ground floor by making a 4-year grant to Harvard College, funding the Harvard Economic Research Project for the study of the structure of the American economy. 1 year later, in 1949, the United States Air Force joined in. In 1952, the original grant period terminated, and a high-level meeting of the elite Illuminati was held to determine the next phase of social operations research. The Harvard Project had been fruitful, as is borne out by the publication of some of its results in 1953, suggesting the feasibility of economic social engineering. Studies in the Structure of the American Economy, copyright 1953 by Wassily Leontief, International Sciences Press, in White Plains, New York. So again, the social engineering is exactly what we're under here. This is the situation that we are befelled with, and we must persevere over this. We must first of all recognize our enemy, understand it, and there literally is a plan to control the population through various means, pharmacological, mind control through the media, mass media, propaganda, images, subliminal messages, all sorts of things. Moving forward, the Quiet War was quietly declared by the international elite, the Bilderberg Group, at a meeting held in 1954. Although the silent weapon system was nearly exposed 13 years later, the evolution of this new weapon system has never suffered any major setbacks. Incredible. Engineered in the last half of the decade of the 1940s, the new quiet war machine stood, so to speak, in sparkling gold-plated hardware on the showroom floor by 1954. With the creation of the Maser in 1954, the promise of unlocking unlimited resources of fusion atomic energy from the heavy hydrogen in seawater, and the consequent availability of unlimited social power, was a possibility only decades away. The combination was irresistible. Wow. It's heavy. In 1954, it was well recognized by those in positions of authority that it was only a matter of time, only a few decades, before the general public would be able to grasp and upset the cradle of power. For the very elements of the new silent weapon technology were as accessible for a public utopia as they were for providing a private utopia. The issue of primary concern, that of dominance, revolved around a subject of the energy sciences. Wow. In 1954, this was the issue of the primary concern. Although the so-called moral issues were raised in view of the law of natural selection, it was agreed that a nation or world of people who will not use their intelligence are no better than animals who do not have intelligence. Such people are beasts of burden and stakes on the table by choice and consent. Consequently, in the interest of future world peace and world order and tranquility, it was decided to privately wage a war against the American public with the ultimate objective of permanently shifting the natural and social energy, that's the wealth, of the undisciplined and irresponsible many into the hands of the self-disciplined, responsible, and worthy few. Welcome to the New World Order. In order to implement this objective, it was necessary to create, secure, and apply new weapons, which, as it turned out, were a class of weapons so subtle and sophisticated in their principle of operation and public appearance as to earn for themselves the name silent weapons. In conclusion, the objective of economic research, as conducted by the magnates of capital banking and the industries of commodities, goods, and vices, is the establishment of an economy which is totally predictable and manipulative. In order to achieve a totally predictable economy, the low-class elements of the society must be brought under total control, i.e., they must be housebroken, trained, and assigned a yoke and long-term social duties from a very early age, before they have an opportunity to question the propriety of the matter. In order to achieve such conformity, the lower-class family unit must be disintegrated by a process of increasing preoccupation of the parents and the establishment of government-operated daycare centers for the occupationally orphaned children. The quality of education given to the lower class must be of the poorest sort, so that the moat of ignorance insulating the inferior class from the superior class is and remains incomprehensible to the inferior class. With such an initial handicap, even bright lower class individuals have little, if any, hope of extricating themselves from their assigned lot in life. This form of slavery is essential to maintaining some measure of social order, peace, and tranquility for the ruling upper class. Everything that is expected from an ordinary weapon is expected from a silent weapon by its creators, but only in its own manner of junctioning. It shoots situations instead of bullets, propelled by data processing instead of chemical reaction, explosions. Originating from bits of data instead of grains of gunpowder, from a computer instead of a gun, operated by a computer programmer instead of a marksman, under the orders of a banking magnate instead of a military general. It makes no obvious explosive noises, no obvious physical or mental injuries, and does not obviously interfere with anyone's daily social life. Yet it makes an unmistakable noise, causes unmistakable physical and mental damage, and unmistakably interferes with daily social life, i.e. unmistakable to a trained observer, one who knows what to look for. The public cannot comprehend this weapon, and therefore cannot believe that they are being attacked and subdued by a weapon. The public might instinctively feel that something is wrong, but because of the technical nature of the silent weapon, they cannot express their feeling in a rational way or handle the problem with intelligence. Therefore, they do not know how to cry for help and do not know how to associate with others to defend themselves against it. When a silent weapon is applied gradually, the public adjusts, adapts to its presence, and learns to tolerate its encroachment on their lives until the pressure, psychological via economic, becomes too great and they crack up. Therefore, the silent weapon is a type of biological warfare. It attacks the vitality, options, and mobility of the individuals of a society by knowing, understanding, manipulating, and attacking their sources of natural and social energy and physical, mental, and emotional strengths and weaknesses. Give me control over a nation's currency, and I care not who makes its laws. Mayor Amschel Rothschild. I'm Howard Nema. Thank you for watching Truth Talk News.
UN Agenda 21, bailouts, sellouts, Lehman Brothers, Goldman Sachs, false flag, terror attacks, Bill Gates, Henry Kissinger, New World Order, mind control, Bank of America, stealing homes, cut and paste, homes, police, state, taser guns, human camps, Mandela, Monsanto rules the food supply while Big Pharma chokes your mind, prison system, profiteers, foundations, fund fears, unbelievable through the years, the world's not as it appears. CIA smuggles drugs while Wachovia and Wells Fargo launder them, then give the proceeds to the owners of the Federal Reserve Bank. Now the IRS takes money out of every single check. Money created out of thin air and leave you with debt. They want to make you a serf, a slave to their demand. They want to take your life in every way they can. Fluoride, GMO, vaccines, chemtrails, United Nations genocide. The world they show us is not real. This is how they kill and steal. Rothschild, Bundy, Rockefeller, Club of Rome. On the Georgia Guidestones is written in stone. Cut through the matrix.
And on nights like this one,
do not be
we can say to those families who have lost loved ones to Al-Qaeda's terror,
liberty and
justice has been done.
The lethality of their power is greater than ever. Their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. And in earlier times, it was easier to control a million people than physically to kill a million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill a million people than to control a million people.
Something has gotten lost. That something is the truth. What is it in us that seeks the truth? Is it our minds? Or is it our hearts?